All right, here we are, episode 74.
All right, racking
Every
them up.
week we are just putting them out there, baby. We're putting them out.
Now, please watch and subscribe too.
Yeah, make sure you do that.
So we got some interesting ones tonight, man. I'll tell you what. Last couple of years, all these scientists that are disappearing, and Bill and I have been talking about Artemis and the moon and all this stuff, and now all these scientists are just dying.
Well, yeah, it just seems kind of strange. The scientists, this is a strange story because it's been going on since 2023. In recent years, primarily 2023 to 2026, there has been a significant media of official attention on cluster of about 10 to 11 U.S. scientists, researchers, engineers, and affiliate figures
Yeah.
that died under unexplained circumstances or disappeared. But now, before you talk,
Yeah. Yes.
this has been going on since 23. How come we just started hearing about this in the last month?
Well, because a few more has happened recently, so I think they're starting to put together a little puzzle here. That why is this always happening? Especially one of the more recent ones. They were on a hike, and she kind of fell back behind a little bit, and her group was a little bit ahead of her, and they turned around and she was gone. It's the mysterious on how they're
Bigfoot?
yeah maybe
Sasquatch?
but we're going to go into the individual ones, but they often worked in very sensitive fields
Right.
at NASA, right? Jet propulsion,
Right.
National Laboratory, nuclear research, aerospace engineering, advanced materials. If you remember back in the day of the people were talking about the UFO that crashed back in the 1950s,
Yeah.
and how they had this weird metal material that would fix itself, and all these stories that came out. Classified defense programs. Excuse me. Some had indirect or speculative space or UFO research. Now that's the
key.
interesting one. That's the key. So imagine, I think I found a UFO. Well, you're gone now. I think we mentioned that maybe we didn't mention it on the show, but there's a show called Capricorn One.
A movie.
Yeah, from the
Came
70s.
out in the. When did that come out? Late 70s?
Yeah, late 70s, 74, I think.
Like right around the China syndrome.
Yeah.
That's when it came out.
So this movie, anyway, they I don't want to give away the movie, but they faked something, and some guy caught on, and he disappeared. Boom, gone.
That's right.
No,
That's right. The one guy playing pool.
Yeah,
Yeah, with Elliot Gould.
Gould, yeah.
Yeah.
They went to his house. Everything was gone. There was somebody else in the house. So the case has prompted a White House review with the FBI involvement, congressional calls for an investigation, because it could all be just coincidence, right?
This
But-
doesn't look like a coincidence. This is strange.
Well, it is strange. I mean, that's why they're looking at it. But, maybe, who knows? So they haven't confirmed any links or any cases that are confirmed together or anything like that. But
The phrasing, disappearing or getting sick, aligns more with disappearances and unexplained deaths.
right. So they're saying disappearing and getting
And
sick.
widespread illness.
Right. They're
Here's a-
saying disappearing and getting sick. And we're saying
Right.
disappearances and unexplained.
And here's a compiled list of the main recent cases.
Yeah.
Michael David Hicks,
hmm
a NASA JPL physicist specialized in comets, asteroids, worked on DART asteroid deflection, and other missions. He studied comets and asteroids. Died on July 30th of 2023,
59.
age 59.
Wow.
Cause not publicly disclosed, later added to the list, had JPL ties overlapping with others.
What's weird is the cause of death was never publicly disclosed. You know how people say, well, he passed away from cancer or he did something happen. They're not even telling us what happened.
Yeah.
Frank Mauwald, NASA JPL principal researcher engineer, worked on space instruments and missions. Now, there's a common thread here. They all worked in the space field, and
Right.
he measures water vapor in the atmosphere to correct radar measurements at sea level height. He died July 4th, 2024. He was 61 years old in Los Angeles. Cause, again, not publicly released, no autopsy mentioned in any reports at all.
Then there was Nanu Loreiro. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Loureiro, MIT professor, nuclear physicist,
Yep.
director of plasma science
Uh-huh.
and fusion center. I mean, studied plasma 99% of the visible matter in the universe, shot to death at his home on December 15th, 2025. He was 47. Suspect identified and arrested, linked him to possible another shooting incident.
Now, is this other shooting stuff? Is this a guy that just goes and shoots people on their front porch for no reason? There's no information about the shooter itself and what happened. But, you know, again, the stuff they were into, the visible matter of the universe. Think
Right.
about it. Look at the common thread here. You getting this? Jason Thomas, pharmaceutical researcher in chemical biology cancer treatments. Now, I've always said that, and I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I lost somebody in the 70s to cancer. And, you know, we went through the whole rigmarole with chemotherapy and radiation and chemotherapy and radiation. And if you think about it today, the language hasn't changed. It's the same stuff: chemotherapy, radiation, chemotherapy. And the only reason we have a drop in cancer rates in some areas is because people are more aware and they get tested more. So it gets caught early enough and you're still here. But he was a biology cancer treatments, NASA microgravity biology ties. So microgravity is when they're up in space and they're floating around. He went missing on December 12th. His body recovered from Lake Quannapowitt in Massachusetts on March 17th. No foul play suspected.
Yeah. There's another guy. Carl Grillmar, astrophysicist, NASA, calibrated on exoplanets, infrared surveys, and related tech, discovered water on distant planets.
Right.
Imagine that.
See?
Shot to death on his front porch on February 26, 2026, just 2 months ago, age 67.
Right.
Suspect arrested, carjacking. The guy was he was carjacking, burglary related, prior trespass on property reported, missing. As of late reports on April 26, searches go ongoing.
Yeah, so they haven't caught the guy.
No.
Shot on his front porch.
But you ready for this?
What?
Just came over the wire. Aerospace defense engineer, military veteran killed in plane crash just the other day.
Just now that came over?
Just came over. His name is James Tony Mafata.
Whoa.
And his family died in a Mooney M12 crash in South Carolina, and the cause remains under investigation.
And he was another scientist.
A decorated veteran pilot, aerospace engineer, and defense researcher was killed in a plane crash in South Carolina last week,
Wow.
raising questions about whether the incident is related to the deaths and disappearances of 11 scientists tied to nuclear and space research.
Wow.
So he's going to be added to this. This is nuts.
Just came over the wire
Just
live.
came over just now.
Anthony Chavez.
Right.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Los Angeles National Laboratory employee. Missing since April 8th, 2025. Founded the Manhattan Project. Now, for you people that don't know what Manhattan Project is, most of you I'm sure do, it's the development of the atomic bomb. It was called the Manhattan Project as a code name at the time. So, development of the nuclear bomb. Left home on foot, left his car, his wallet, and his keys, and his personal items are found inside. Exhaustive searches conducted with no breakthroughs. They haven't found them. And I'm not laughing. I'm just saying,
Yeah. Monica Reza, aerospace engineer, material scientist, NASA JPL director of material processing,
there you go.
worked on rocket alloys with the Air Force Research Lab. Missing since June 22nd, 2025. Vanished while hiking in Angeles National Forest. Last seen 30 feet behind companion on a trail. An extensive search yielded nothing. She
Right.
just
That's the one I just told
she's
you.
with her boyfriend or significant
group
other
of
or
couple, yeah.
couple, and all of a sudden they turn around and she's gone.
Yeah, she kind of fell back. She was looking at her phone, so she was a little bit behind him. When they turned around, she was gone, just like that. I mean, you got to think about this. Is it really coincidence here? What's going on? Melissa Cassis, administration of the Los Alamos National Laboratory with security clearances, Missing since June 26, 2025. This is all fairly recent stuff.
Yeah, this is
Left
weird. Left
Another one. Left home without phone, wallet, or keys after routine activities. Last seen walking near a highway. Gone.
gone.
No breakthrough reported.
Yeah, I mean, here's another one. Stephen Garcia, government contractor, property custodian at the Kansas City National Security Campus, which produces non-nuclear and nuclear weapons components, top security and clearance. Missing since August 28th of last year
Wow.
in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Left home on foot carrying a handgun. Police noted possible self-danger.
But
I
they
guess
didn't.
they think that maybe he killed himself.
Yeah,
or
but they didn't find him.
they didn't find him. He's gone.
You know, if you took your own life, you got to be laying there somewhere. William Neal McCasland,
Caslin.
retired U.S. Air Force Major General, former commander of Air Force Research Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, oversaw a classified space weapons program. Missing since February 26, 2026. This is, again, recent. Near his Albuquerque home, left all devices behind. The wife publicly addressed and downplayed UFO, UAP, community rumors. FBI joined the search. They haven't found him yet.
You know, and it's funny. He was in Albuquerque, and the guy that I said before him, Stephen Garcia, he was in Albuquerque,
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Yep.
And then Amy Eskridge, research entrepreneur in anti-gravity exotic propulsion tech, founded Institute for Exotic Science with UFO, UAP disclosure interest, died June 11th, 2022. Suicide by self-inflicted gunshot, age 34 in Huntsville, Alabama. Some online claims and congressional submissions allege foul play, but officially ruled suicide with no public police autopsy details released in some reports.
She left a note.
This Amy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's now considered the 11th one. You know,
Well, now there's
one.
12. And this
now
whole
there's
thing,
12.
this is a shame because the whole family was killed.
Right. Think about what she was working on here, though. This was exotic science. Where did I see that? Anti-gravity.
Exotic science with UFO, UAP disclosure.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, anti-gravity exotic propulsion. So when you talk about anti-gravity and exotic propulsion, the first thing that comes to mind is UFO, right? Unidentified flying, whatever, because they don't know how these things fly, if they do, if they're real or not. They float around and do all this weird stuff. So here's what was found. She left this behind. Oh, by the way, this is how she wrote this. If you see any report that I killed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I overdosed myself, I most definitely did not. If you see any report that I killed anyone else, I most definitely did not. Signed, Amy Eskridge. She knew something was happening. She knew something was going to happen. And she wrote this. Say, I did not kill myself. Or kill anybody else.
These cases span New Mexico, Los Alamos, Albuquerque area, California, Caltech, and elsewhere. Many involve classified or advanced research, leading to theories of targeted actions, but officials emphasize reviewing for any patterns without confirming links. President Trump, per 2026 reports, and the White House have stated they are investigating with agencies expected updates. Now, I saw Kash Patel on TV. He said they're looking into this, and so is James Comer. Okay. He's looking into this. Because this is really so what let me ask you.
Well, let me real quick. Here's a clip with Trump saying that he's going to investigate this. Hold on.
There are these 10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short time.
What do you think? What is it? What it could be who would want these people dead? Is it our government or is it another government like China or Russia that doesn't want us to
Advancement
advance?
in technology. Well, there could be two answers to that in my crazy mind. Could it be our government because now all of a sudden, if you remember this past year, Trump was saying something, he was going to release some of the old UFO files,
Right.
some of the things that, we didn't know about. So that was a key there. And how much did these people know that maybe they don't want them to get caught up in this testifying what they were doing or secret stuff? Who knows? There is so much that goes on behind the scenes. We have no idea. What we see is a fraction of what's going on. Now, could it be another country? Now, one of the things that's really interesting is this space race thing that's happening. China is involved. A couple other countries are involved. This is real big race to the moon. And these guys are part of it. I mean, these guys, propulsion and, anti-gravity and
Why
microgravity.
does it have to be such a race? What is the difference? What if the difference that China gets there before us or we get there before China?
Well, they even,
Why? Is
I
it
even
just to go,
well, that's why we did it in
I know,
69
in
and 70.
69,
Here's
I
the
know.
flag. It's ours.
Yeah, I mean,
You got Blue Origin, who's got a moon lander, ahead of schedule than Elon Musk, which is a modified Starship. Now, the moon lander that Blue Origin has is kind of crampy, but not like the old lunar module. There's some room.
Right.
But the Starship is magnificent. It's got layers and beds, and it's got everything. So they're in a race to get their ships in orbit around the Earth for Artemis 3 to practice
docking.
docking and undocking, moving people.
That's going to be next year.
And they want to try to do it with two at the same time, Blue Origin. And so whoever gets up there first is probably going to be the one to go to the moon. I also found out there will be 2 moon landings in 2028. Not 1, 2.
Well, who else is?
We are. Twice.
We are, but
in the same year.
oh, we're going to do 2 missions.
Yep. Manned missions to the moon.
Oh my God!
At the beginning of 2028 and at the end of 2028. And then from there, it really starts kicking up. And I'm talking about they're going to start having ships drop off cargo and different things. And they were talking about the 3D cement printing they're going to do and all this stuff. Think about this. I mean, this is like thinking about light speed. What's going on? Why
Sounds like a good movie that they're going to make.
It absolutely is.
It
is. It's just like the movies.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of different movies, and you say to yourself, "Is this real? Has this really happened?" And
well, look at China Syndrome.
yeah,
What happened right after the movie came out?
right.
3 Mile Island.
Yep.
The exact same thing. A defective dial. They thought there was no water, but there was too much water in it. The same thing that they had in China.
It's funny. The 3 Mile Island, if you don't know, was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. But
yep.
in the movie, they made it sound like Jack Lemmon was looking at the meter, and the one scientist watching the video said, if this does go down, it'll go straight down about the size of Pennsylvania,
Right.
all the way down through China.
Yeah, well, that's, and for you people out there, a quick nuclear lesson. Nuclear fusion is controlled by control rods that go into the radioactive material, and the further they come out, the hotter it gets. It boils water, turns a turbine, it makes electric. That's how it works. If we have a true meltdown, technically, it could melt right through the Earth.
Right through the
But
earth.
it doesn't happen. What happens is it goes down till it hits water, and then radioactive steam comes up all over the place, like in Russia when they had that bad one go. So, but that's the nickname China Syndrome.
Isn't that was 1979,
Yes, they're a lot safer now.
1978? Isn't it a lot safer
Yeah,
now?
absolutely.
I happen to think nuclear is the way to go for our power.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clean. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like it's
Well, you got to watch some stuff. They have a lot of it on YouTube. They talk about where does the water waste go after they use the water and it's radioactive. They put it in barrels and they bury it somewhere until it dissipates enough.
is that what they do?
That's the problem. There's a lot of the waste that happens. Now, there's a lot less now. I think they're recycling a lot more water. They're doing much more than what they used to do. But it is you know, it's, in fact, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 that are out in the middle of nowhere,
Right.
billions of miles away, they kind of have a nuclear reactor on their ship for power. And as it deteriorates, it creates heat and keeps things warm, and it creates energy and all this stuff. And it's still working today,
Yeah.
all the way out there. So guys, keep your eyes open for these scientists. But I'll tell you, these are some major scientists, and they're just coming up gone. I mean, how do you imagine going to a park with your family and you turn around and your kid's gone and it just vanished? I mean, this is not cool. So we don't know what's going on, but that's the update. I wanted to give you an update on each one of these just to show you the connections of all of them. They're all within the science realm and discovering water and discovering gravity and microgravity, and there's all a common theme here.
Well, Trump says that they're going to look into this and see.
Yep. So we'll see what
how it
happens.
goes, but
So that's all I got. I ranted enough anyway. So,
very good.
all right. So we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
See you soon.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Oh, like, subscribe, and the bell, please. See you. Bye.